La 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 la.
La 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 la.
All right. Speak into however your normal volume is.
This is my normal volume.
Okay, fine. Hello, Julie.
Hello, Pete.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Oh my God, I'm tired.
I mean, me too.
It's gorgeous. It's fucking gorgeous
I
outside.
know. It's so nice to be inside on a gorgeous day.
Yeah. Are you planning on going outside?
I hope so.
It's really. You
It's
should
really
do
nice.
it. I was actually allowing myself to. Yeah, I was wearing. I was almost gonna wear like sandals, but I was like, oh wait, I'm coming into someone's home. I should probably not expose someone to that type of feet. But I was like, it's such a nice kind of slow.
It's a sandal day.
It's a Sunday. I'm working later, but beyond that, it's a Sunday, and it feels really good.
Yeah.
I'm planning on moving to New York in September.
I know. It's gonna be so
thinking,
weird without you here.
I know. Yeah. I don't know how I'm gonna feel. But I'm sorry to take away my amazing presence from San Francisco. But I was thinking, like, yeah, I guess I should just enjoy being next to the ocean that quick, or like actual ocean instead of like New York. Have you ever been to New York?
Yes.
Yes. The ocean's on the wrong side.
Definitely.
I don't know if
It's very disorienting.
It doesn't sunset.
Yeah,
The sun does not set on
So
the right
weird.
side, and it's very strange. But I could always drive out to Long Island, but even then, it's like it's not gonna feel right.
No.
How do you have an ocean where the sun sets behind you? That doesn't make any sense.
romantic.
No, it's not. Thank you very much for being on the show. Our guest today, by the way, is Julie.
Hi.
I wanted to talk to you because, number one, you contributed to my album, which I really appreciate.
Yay.
And also, we've done music before, and you're an artist, and you have experience with Los Angeles, the dreaded Los Angeles. And I just wanted to talk to you about life stuff, and
Cool.
yeah. So
Life is good.
You're from Los Angeles originally.
From Los Angeles.
Okay. Now, Los Angeles proper, or is it
Like Venice Beach area.
Okay. Where is that?
Venice
that
Beach
near?
is like the cool beach. It's like
Every
no,
place
it's
in
like,
every beach in LA
like
is the cool beach.
quintessential LA beach with like the hippies and the surfers and like the the thrift shops and
Okay, so it's not like Long Beach. All I know from Long Beach is Snoop Dogg and American History X.
No.
So it's not like Long Beach. It's
No.
like, okay, what makes it different?
it's more like eclectic or like there's all sorts of characters. Like there's just every single kind of kook is in Venice Beach.
So why is that quintessential LA though? I thought like LA would be like everyone's plastic and
Well,
everyone's
I guess
just like,
so.
I work for Sony and all that crap or whatever.
True. And then there's like the Baywatch LA beach, which could be quintessential. I guess I just grew up there. To me, it's beach.
So what? So there's kooky people there.
There's lots of kooky people.
Okay, what kind of kooky people? Because you said hippies, and in my mind, hippies most of the time spend their time in Northern California. So you're saying there are hippies in Southern California?
Well, I guess I call them hippies because they sit on the hill and they smoke pot and they play drums and that's all they do.
Yeah, that's hippie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so there are
They all have
there are
pit bulls.
burnouts. Yeah. the pit bull on a rope. I gotta tell you, that's the saddest. When it's like when they're using the dog to get change, it upsets me because that dog is happier than shit to just be with them. You know what I mean? Like that dog doesn't know any better. It's just like, oh yay, where are we gonna go
Another
today,
day.
boss? Like
Yeah.
Happy. Yeah, I don't know. That's just selfish. But anyway. Okay, so there's hippies in Venice Beach. Are there? Is it close to Orange County or is it
No.
far away? How far is Orange County?
Probably an hour
Oh, okay.
away.
Without traffic.
Without traffic.
Okay.
I don't know what LA is without traffic though.
Okay, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But even in the middle of the day, or I mean,
I don't know
middle
if I've
of
ever
the night.
driven to Orange County in the middle. It's somewhere from like 40 minutes to
Okay.
it can be 2 hours depending on how much traffic you have.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you like growing up in Venice Beach?
Okay, so confession, I grew up in Mar Vista.
All right, this has all been a lie then.
It's all been a lie.
You've been lying that
So,
entire
but if I
time.
told you that I lived in Mar Vista,
No one
you would be like, "What?"
I'm just as lost when you said Venice
Yeah,
Beach. I'm
so
still,
my plan
I'm
didn't
just,
work.
Yeah, no.
So Mar Vista
What's-
is right in between Venice Beach, which you don't know where that is, Culver
No.
City, still don't know where that is, and Santa Monica. You probably know where Santa Monica is.
Culver City's near Studio City.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Anyway,
Yes.
so Mar Vista. You grew up in Mar Vista.
Mar Vista.
Because you can see the ocean.
I can't.
Ah, okay. And did you like growing up in Mar Vista?
I had the best childhood that anybody could possibly
Really?
have.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, because I grew up.
Money. You grew.
I had some money. I did.
There were kooks. At least you could go smoke pot with the hippies, and still go home. So
You can go if you go in any direction from where I grew up in a cul-de-sac, and if you go in any direction, you were either in the ritzy area, you were in the not so ritzy, you were on the beach.
You almost said ghetto. You can say ghetto. It's okay. You were in the ghetto.
Yeah, it could be. But I was like protected in this beautiful little cul-de-sac, and every single house had kids, so we would play with each other all day long. And then I'm an only child, so it was like having brothers and sisters, but not having to share my parents. Yeah, it was the best.
Right.
Best.
Did you ever go visit the ghetto? Did you ever visit, like, how far is it from, like, Compton? Or are there?
I played basketball in Compton.
Okay. All right.
Just once.
Now we're getting.
It was one game, and I think we only played them. I don't know why we only played them once.
Was it like junior high, high school?
It was like June. It was
So
like probably ninth
So you
grade.
did competitive sports. You did basketball and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Volleyball.
What was that experience
Softball.
like?
You mean playing in Compton or just in general?
Sure, let's start with that.
So the Compton game, I swear I feel like we just like gave them the ball. We were just like, here you go. You can have it.
Was it just like the please
or
don't
they
shoot
took
me?
it because they're way better than us too.
Yeah,
like
that's
either
true.
way, like they had
That's
the ball
true.
the whole time and
Right.
we got
So it
out
was
of
like
there.
it was almost like okay, please don't shoot me. Here's the basketball. Do what you got to do. Yeah, okay. I've heard that's a similar experience.
Yeah.
I was never, as you can tell, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not the most athletic type. But yeah, I never had that experience, so I guess I never really thought of it from that life. Did you feel pressure to get into sports stuff, or did you just enjoy it?
Oh no, I loved it because like I said, I grew up and most of my neighbors were boys, so it was all sports. It was like sports, and we played hockey with brooms and football with nerf balls until we could use the real things.
Remember nerf balls?
Yeah,
Man,
they were great.
Those are great.
They were
Remember
great.
nerf guns?
I remember those too.
God,
yeah,
dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the super soakers then too.
Yeah,
like,
super soakers. God, it's been a long time since I've shot a super soaker.
I know.
Probably 20-something years, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
We're old.
So old.
So you grew up, you had a good childhood.
Good childhood.
Okay.
Yep. And then so in high school, I was into sports, but I was also into theater. I wasn't like super into theater to the point in which I had any like really big roles in the plays, but I did the musicals.
Okay.
So I was a chorus girl in Pajama Game and
What,
Anything
the who?
Goes.
John McCain? What are you
Pajama Game.
What the hell is Pajama Game?
It's the game we're in, and
Oh,
we're
okay.
proud
All
to
right,
be
all
in
right.
the pajama game. We love it.
No.
You know what's weird is my husband was in the same play.
In the
And it's a
same hood? Because
No,
he's from
like,
Southern. Okay.
He's in Orange County, but he just happened to do. It's a kind of an obscure.
I would love to see him in the. We won't say his name, but I would love to see him in the Pajama Game.
Oh
I don't
my
even.
God. And he hates
now that you've-
musicals. He hates them.
Are you
He
serious?
hates them.
Yeah, I kinda
Although
like-
I've taken him to. We went and saw Hamilton, and he loved that.
I've heard Hamilton's good, but when I lightly started listening to some of the music, it kind of reminded me a little bit of Linkin Park. It was just it was just like this is Linkin
see
Park
that.
with black people. That's all.
Yeah, I can see that. It's so good though. It's so good.
I like musicals though. I'm one of the gayer straight men that I know. I like, you know which one I like? Jesus Christ Superstar has some amazing music in it. Sweeney Todd is my favorite music of all time.
Oh,
My
wow.
favorite written. That Stravinsky's Rite of Spring and some Frank Zappa, like the best. Like Sweeney Todd. You ever?
I've never seen that one.
Never seen Sweeney Todd?
No.
Maybe the movie.
I've seen the movie. Oh yeah, there's music in that. Same music. Okay, I don't remember it.
Come
though.
on, dude. What's
What?
wrong with you? Yeah, Sweeney Todd is.
I have issues with Tim Burton. So
This is very interesting. What issues with Tim Burton?
Just,
Do you just know him? Did you know him as a person?
No,
'Cause you were from
I don't
LA?
know him as a person.
Okay.
I don't
all
want
right.
to know him.
Is he just? Is he just creepy? Is that what it is? Because you have creeps
I
all over the
love-
place. I mean,
I
you
love-
let me into your house, so like you
he
know.
does creepy right. Like
Right.
his early stuff is super creepy.
Okay, I've never seen like Edward Scissorhands
Oh,
or whatever.
Edward Scissorhands is great.
It's good.
Yes.
Okay.
And then, Nightmare Before Christmas and
Beetlejuice.
Oh,
So what
good.
happened? Why do you?
He started getting his paws on my childhood movies that I love.
What, like Alice in Wonderland?
Alice in Wonderland, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I have
Yeah,
major issues with. He just did Dumbo. I have not seen it.
Oh yeah, he did Dumbo.
He just
What is
needs
he
to
doing?
stop.
Yeah, why is he
Stop
doing
it.
that?
Tim Burton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like when Tim Burton starts to get into the I'm using CGI stuff. That is bothersome. I've never seen like Sleepy Hollow though. Is that good? This is the.
And he's
why
so
am I even
obsessed with Johnny
podcasting?
Depp.
All
I
I'm
don't
doing
know.
is like, I've never seen that movie. Is it good? Duh. Patreon.com/conservatish. So I can. Anyway, okay. So your issues, is that your only issue with Tim Burton, or is it you feel like you like his other stuff otherwise?
I like his early stuff. I don't like anything he's done recently.
Right.
It makes me angry.
Right.
Yeah.
But Sweeney Todd is different. So did you enjoy Sweeney Todd?
Yeah, it's dark. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
But that's. Did you know Angela Lansbury was actually in the? You know Angela Lansbury?
Yeah.
Yeah, she was actually the lady originally, not in the movie. But
okay.
she sang. She was a part of musical theater, and there's a recording on YouTube of her singing all that By the Sea and a bunch of the Sweeney Todd music. Yeah, it's kind of cool. I thought anyway. But okay, so you Tim Burton issues with childhood. No, what's the so you grew up, you had the nice stuff with Nerf balls and all that crap, and then you had the game at Compton. So what else was? Did you enjoy being close to Hollywood since you were into musicals and acting and stuff?
Actually, that was probably my least favorite thing about living in Los Angeles.
Why? What is it? How did it affect you?
So my high school was filled with, the sons and daughters of Hollywood.
Oh,
everybody. Tom Petty's kids came there, and what's his name? Vin
Diesel?
Vin Diesel. Oh God, the one that does the
Tim
splits. Burton. No,
the one that does the splits.
Forget it.
Austrian guy, I think.
Yeah.
Everybody's yelling.
That
dude.
guy.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
And other people like that, but I never felt super posh. I never felt super I fit into that world. I wasn't size 0, and I didn't have blonde hair, and all of that stuff.
So that even started, I guess we all have that in another way. We all have, the popular clique or the pretty girls or the, whatever. But I guess there's an added aura of better than you when it comes to the Hollywood stuff too. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's got to be weird to grow up around.
Yeah.
So was there posturing around that in, from the popular kids, they were, well, my daddy is blah blah blah, or was it ever outward or was it kind of behind?
No, it was kind of behind. It wasn't there wasn't too many people who would throw names around. Mm-hmm.
But we all kind of knew.
You all kind of knew,
okay.
And and I was in the popular clique,
right?
But I actually remember I was kind of friends with the nerds too,
okay.
And they were kind of
you were an
crafty, and but then I saw them getting picked on, and I was like, oh no, I'm out of this, and then I jumped into sports and stuff. So.
Right.
But yeah, my best friend in high school dated this fellow whose parents were, the agents for Tom Cruise and Sly and all of those people, and she would see them on the regular, and we would go to parties sometimes.
Right.
So.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. It just never felt like my scene.
Right. Yeah, I guess I've always thought of L.A. and I've talked about it many times on the podcast. But you ever heard of a New York no? That dumb joke, a New York no.
No.
So a New York no is no.
Okay.
A San Francisco no, I've added this part, but a San Francisco no is, I don't know, and then they won't call you back.
Okay.
And then an LA no is, yeah, we should totally do that.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
That's it's not passive aggressive. Oh. This is bullshit. I brought oranges. So it's not passive aggressive like San Francisco, but it's almost positive but negative at the same time. You know what I mean? And that's why I don't like. That's one of the multiple things I don't like about LA is that there's also there's an aura. Like if they didn't go rah rah LA, I wouldn't be so, you know what I mean? I wouldn't be so anti-LA. But the fact that so many people are like, Red Hot Chili Peppers, every freaking song is about California, Rage Against the Machine. Everybody's like, oh, you got to go. And LA's so blah, blah, blah. Everybody's kind of, sorry, but sucking their own dick about it. Where it's just like, it just feels like, okay, you know what? Now let me take a look at it and really, okay, yeah, here's what's wrong. Fuck you. This sucks, whatever. So it makes me kind of more anti your hood. Sure. But did you know anything different, or was it kind of like, what did you feel about LA as a whole when you were a kid?
I don't know if I had thought about LA as a whole when I was a kid. I thought about my immediate circle of people.
Mar Vista.
Yeah, Mar Vista. My Vienna Way neighborhood.
Vienna Way.
Yes.
Ooh.
Yes.
Very posh.
So yeah, I don't know if I thought about it that much.
But you came up to San Francisco when?
So I graduated from high school and I went to Boulder, Colorado, because I like to snowboard, and actually I like to ski, and then I forced myself to learn how to snowboard because they had better clothes and all the boys were snowboarding. So
okay.
So
did you like Boulder?
Yeah, Boulder was great.
What do you like about Boulder?
It's beautiful. It's it's right in the heart of the Rockies. Just a lot of nature. It's pretty chill. And I also loved it because I was like with 30,000 people who seem to like to drink, which, it was like the number 2 party school after Santa Barbara. And I was very happy about that.
I've heard, what's that place up in the Northern California? It's very, very party school as well. Davis.
Davis?
We just can't come up with any names on this fucking show.
You could just dub it over.
It's
later.
not Chowchilla. That's a prison. It's
Chino. No.
Yeah.
Chino.
Yeah. Wasn't isn't there a college up there?
I think so.
All right. Whatever. God damn it. I'm fucking tired. The espresso hasn't kicked in. It's a beautiful day, ladies and gentlemen.
Beautiful day.
So you like Boulder?
I liked Boulder. But I didn't graduate because of the drinking and the boys and all of that stuff. Too much drama.
Too much snowboarders.
Too many snowboarders. And I followed one back to LA because I liked him a lot.
Right.
And then I went to art school in LA, and that was like one of the happier times in LA because I was doing something that I loved.
When did you start doing art?
I didn't start until after Boulder. I really wasn't.
How did you know that you wanted to go to art school, or is that just what everybody else was doing?
No, nobody else was doing that. Literally, it was my neighbor. He was like, "Hey, I saw this animation school over on Ocean Park. You should check it out." And I belonged to the gym across the street, and I was like, "Oh, okay, I'll check it out." And I saw animation on there.
Is there anything more Los Angeles?
Yeah,
I'm going to the art school because I went to gym across the street. So you but had you started drawing when you were a kid or anything?
I drew when I was a kid, but not.
Was it you were more interested in? Obviously the sports too, but musical theater stuff or
that was
what
my
other
thing.
artistic?
I around. I don't have any. I'm not loyal to anything.
I kind of feel that way too.
Yeah.
I've been thinking a lot recently about because I listen to comedy constantly and podcasts and radio shows about comedy and books about comedy and blah 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 blah. I've been thinking about should I do stand up, and I don't want to be in a box artistically. Mm-hmm. I want to because I feel like a musician,
right?
But I also a lot of people who even listen to the podcast have never heard one fucking note of my music. So it's I don't want to be in a box of a podcast. I don't want to be in a box of a stand up. I don't want to be box any of that stuff. I want to do both. You know what I mean? And I think part of what's great about doing what we being in 2019 is we get to kind of create whatever the hell we want to do. Mm-hmm. And part of that is there is so much out there, and there is such a saturation of artists and musicians and podcasters and stand-up and all that stuff that it's kind of okay, well, it's good to have your fingers in all these little pies, but at the same time, there's 58,000 fingers in each pie.
A
and it's just like,
disgusting pie.
you know, yeah, it's a fucking gross pie, especially my end of the pie. But there's so many other. So it's like, how do you choose from it?
Right.
You know what I mean? There are a lot of people who want to. I've had so many times where people are like, "Oh yeah, I want to listen to your podcast," but they're already listening to like 58 other. I don't know why 58 is my go-to, but they're already listening to a bunch of other podcasts or musicians or stand-up. So it's like, you just can provide what you can provide. You have the show that you have the music you have, you draw what you draw, and you just leave it up to whatever. So you never felt like you wanted to be in a box of it, artistically.
No.
But have you? I remember we've done shows. We did that. Where was that open mic? I think it was
Abbey
on
Tavern.
Yeah, Abbey Tavern. Yeah, over on 6th, I think 6th Avenue. I don't know if that's still going. Is that still going?
I don't know.
Yeah. There's so many like open mics. I haven't done an open mic musically in a long time.
I thought when you were coming over today, I was remembering meeting you downtown and you were busking, and you were and you were like sitting and you were like playing for everybody, and I was like, that was so cool.
Have you ever done it?
Well, I sat with you. I sang with you.
Oh, we did?
A little bit. I kind of sang along with you a little bit.
Okay.
But yeah, Sean and I did a little bit. We do it a little bit here and there, but we went to New Orleans and we were like, okay, this is it. We're gonna play on the street and we're gonna make some money.
Yeah.
Playing on the street, and we made $1.
Yay! How long
so
did you
I
play
have
for?
it framed in our office.
How long did you play for?
We played for a while, but we were kind of like off the beaten path because, like, dude,
there's other buskers.
They're crazy.
That's the thing about busking is it's very much it's a little cutthroat.
Territorial.
It's very territorial. Mm-hmm. But when you like if you get there, that's the thing about too is that like there's this one guy at Montgomery Station. He's an older gentleman, black gentleman, pretty homeless, pretty crazy. Has a little cup that he pees in next to his keyboard. A few weeks ago, I went out there just to, busk for the first time in a while. And he was like, hey, because he likes me. He gets mad at any other, like, buskers, like, if they don't, like, ingratiate themselves to him somehow, like, he's, like, the king of Montgomery. He thinks he is, anyway. And if they don't, he's looking for a reason to not like you. But he likes me, I guess, because years ago I did something nice to him, or I watched his keyboard while he threw out his pea cup or something. I don't know what the hell. But like there is a good bit of crazy as well. Like in New Orleans is probably better. In New Orleans, in New York, they're a lot more like professional.
They're very
buskers.
professional about it.
But in San Francisco, or I'm sure probably in LA, there's just a lot of like homeless people who have a guitar.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
right.
And they play, some crap like Leonard Skinnerd. You heard me. I know who. That's specifically for one guy. But they play this, the song, two or three songs that they know, and then people like, okay, here's some change. So yeah, there's a good amount of crazy. There's also a good amount of territorialism or territoriality or whatever. But was that the only time you've ever busked?
No, but I'm blanking. I mean, we've done it here and there where we've kind of just like busted out in public and played. I think we played in an airport. We played in the airport, I think on the way to New Orleans.
Nice.
Or somewhere else. We played all over our honeymoon. Yeah.
Where'd you guys go?
We were in Peru and Costa Rica.
Damn.
Yeah. And actually, we
Did you eat guinea pig?
No, we didn't eat the guinea pig.
I've heard guinea pig is a delicacy.
It is. There's like a giant guinea pig when you like drive into the town, and then it's kind of, I couldn't do it. I can't eat food when you can see the shape of the animal, like still. Like it has to be like disassembled
okay,
so that I don't really have a connection.
I understand that. So you've never hunted. You've never like.
I've fished.
Okay, it's different, I guess.
Different.
Yeah, it's different. They don't have, as Patrice O'Neill put it, they don't have eyebrows.
Yeah.
So you can't really like if they looked sad or
Yeah.
looked angry, like
Yeah.
you'd have it. But if it's just like a blank face, you kind of
Yeah.
okay.
But yeah, we were in Peru, and
Do you guys still play music?
yeah, we haven't been playing as much. We had
There's a bunch of instruments all over the place.
Oh, he plays. I mean, Sean is a guitar teacher.
Yeah. Are you okay with saying his name, by the way? On the...
Oh, Sean, I don't know.
Yeah, it's up to you. I can always cut it out later if you want.
I'm okay. We can ask him. I don't know.
Okay, whatever.
There's a lot of Seans. It can be.
Yes. Especially Irish ones.
Yes.
Yes.
It's the most common name in Ireland.
Yeah, there are a lot of common. There's a lot of Laurens too. There's a lot of Laurens. I've been running into a lot of Laurens recently. Anyway, continue. So you still play music? You played music in Costa Rica and in Peru.
So our wedding was a giant show where we played a full hour-long set on stage at the chapel.
The two of you guys did.
Or
you had other musicians.
Me and my dad got up a couple times, played the banjo, and like he's got his whole family's musical. So
that's cute.
So that was good. And then in our honeymoon, we were playing what are they called? We were playing the song. What is their name? Holiday Island in the Sun. Who does that? Weezer.
Oh, Weezer.
Dude, it's freaking Weezer. Yeah. And so everywhere we would go, we would have people do the hip part.
Yes.
So we want to string it together into a video, but it hasn't happened yet.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's one of those music. I have so many of those fucking projects where it's like, oh, that would be a great idea, and then like 3 years later, you're like, you finally piece it together, and it's like, I don't know what this is.
Yeah.
Okay, so you still sometimes play, or he plays a lot. Do you guys play out, like at shows or open mic or whatever?
Not in a while. Not since the wedding, I don't think. And,
so what art do you do now?
I teach. I'm a teacher. I teach concept art and like storyboarding and drawing and painting and sculpting and visual development for animation and some 3D animation, all that kind of stuff.
Awesome.
And I am working on a film, and it's based on a book that's written by an author, a satirist, a San Franciscan he's done all sorts of satires, and he did a satire of Shakespeare's King Lear. And so I'm doing an adaptation so King Lear is this old crusty guy who's like dying, and he wants to give his kingdom to his daughters. And there's this he has a fool that's like his sidekick. So in my adaptation, Lear is a Prohibition mob boss, and he's running his bootleg empire out of the White Palace Hotel, and he's got all these goons who are smuggling the booze in from like the fishing docks and all this stuff, and then the hero is the fool who is a bellhop for the hotel. I like that. Yeah.
I remember the only art of yours that I've seen I really liked, but it reminded me it was similar. Do you remember the Rhapsody in Blue from Fantasia 2000? Sure. Yeah. That was it's very similar. I like that, like
Hirschfeldian, yes.
Hirschfeldian, yes. I like that.
I'll
dude.
take it. He's my favorite. Yeah. What did you see? What did I show you? I don't know.
It was something about a lady.
It might have been one of my drawings for Fool, probably.
Oh, okay, yeah. So you've been working on it for a while.
Working on it for a while.
Okay.
I worked on it. So it was my master's thesis, and then I graduated and I put it away. Okay. And then I've pulled it back out.
Why did you put it away? Just interested in other things.
Burnt out, wanting to do other things, just too close to it. So
too close to it. Mm-hmm. That's an interesting idea. So I'm finishing my album about 94% done. My dad and as well as the producer Gowan Matthews told me leave it alone for a month. Don't listen. Yeah. Just leave it. And then I was playing it last night, and I was thinking about talking to you about this. I was playing it last night, and I was just the first couple of songs. I'm like, oh. I'm so excited, and you see the world, and it's just amazing. I'm so hopeful. And then the third one, I'm like, this is not good. And then the sound isn't right, and the bass drum doesn't sound right. And the whole thing, it just turned into this bad trip of why am I even doing this? What's the fucking point of me even recording an album? I'm not even a good person. I'm not even good at art. Why am I even, who let me do this? Why did I, And I texted my pops because he's a musician and an amazing horn arranger, and he actually did some stuff for the album. Have you heard any of the? Anyway, maybe I'll show you. Okay. I'll show you some. And you know, the two tracks that he put stuff on, those were the ones, like two of the ones that I was like, oh, really excited about. But you know, I texted him. I was like, "Is this normal?" You know what I mean? To feel like when you're right at the finish line, to feel like, "What the fuck am I even doing?"
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
And he was like, "Yeah." And then my friend Lila, Animal, she's been on the show before. She was like, "Yeah, it's normal. Just get back into it." You know. So I don't know. When you took some time, how long did you take away from that thesis stuff? Couple years, right?
Yeah, a couple years for sure.
Where you didn't even look at it, or you would look at it every couple of months?
I didn't even look at it. I didn't do any art either. I worked at Pete's Coffee.
Nice.
For a while.
Right.
Yeah, I actually thought about not doing art anymore.
Okay.
Because I have like a love-hate relationship with art. It's a higher power thing, really.
Okay.
Because like I have to like do the work, take the action, and then leave the results.
I hate it.
And right? It's the worst.
I fucking hate that.
So
it's bullshit.
It's humbling.
Yeah.
It's really humbling. But I've gotten to a place where I like doing the work, so the results don't actually matter that much. It's so much better.
Yeah.
It's so much better.
I feel like, see, I've had many points in my life where I'm at that point, but sometimes I just, with so much work and so much invested and so much money and so much time, like, yeah, I did a GoFundMe and we got the 1,200 past the goal and it was great, but I've spent way more than 1,200 of my own money and time and energy and effort, and all that money is gone because it's very expensive to record an album, and it's been a year and a half, and it's just been smacking my head against the wall of like, okay, does this sound right, and tweak this and blah, blah, blah. You know, and I'm not at the point where I'm like overthinking it, but it just takes so much time and effort and mind fuck, where you're just like, I really want this to happen the way I want it to happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And some of it is working hard and some of it is working smart. Yeah. I've had this thought too, because too often, you know, last night as an example, I was sharing at a certain event that sometimes you and I go to, and I was thinking about, you know, after the thing, a guy came up to me and he was like, you know, you sound like a trustworthy person. Like maybe you should like trust yourself more. He was like, because I if I were you, like I would trust myself. And I'm like, yeah, okay. You know, almost like begrudgingly, like fine, all right, I'll love myself. Like it's funny how that you know, I'm so used to second guessing and thinking. I don't remember why I was going into that, but it's just an interesting thought to. It takes a lot, you know what I mean? But I don't know. It's just weird, man. It's just it's weird how that's, you know, it is a higher power thing where you like you do the work and you trust, but a piece of me just doesn't fucking want to trust.
Yeah.
I don't want to. You know, I want it to happen the way I want it to happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And this other person was talking to me yesterday, and they were telling the story of Oprah opening some school in Africa. You know, underrepresented, underprivileged. They don't have a school. She opened a school, and I guess some critics were like, isn't this like flaunting your money, or like, you know, is this too much? Do you have too much money? And she said something to the effect of, well, yeah, but those kids aren't helped by me being poor.
Right.
Me being poor wouldn't benefit them at all.
That's
you know
great.
what I mean? It's like, so I guess it's like, obviously I'm not Oprah, although we look very similar. But for me, it's like, okay, well, I guess there is a bit necessary to flexing some sort of, not pride, but like, okay, I have a talent and I'm going to work on it and I'm going to, you know, and I'm going to cultivate it and do what I need to do. Mm-hmm. Sure, for me, but also for everybody too, you know? So when you took those years off, was it nagging on you, or was it?
Oh my God. It was brutal.
Okay.
Because all my friends, you know, went off to do artistic things, and it wasn't by choice that I went back either. Well, it was kind of, but I had a former classmate come find me, and he had been working at this school, and he was like, Julie, you would be an incredible teacher. Come interview at this school. And I, you know, I've gotten into that say yes thing and give it a try, and like, you know, and for me that was a big deal because I am up until that point for sure like very, very hard on myself in terms of my abilities. Like I can't do anything. Like what am I gonna do for them or whatever? But somehow I was able to like go to this interview, and at the interview they didn't tell me this. They threw me in front of a school a class to teach. They told me to prepare a lesson. Thankfully my husband like helped me do a PowerPoint presentation, thank goodness, because he threw me right in front of a class, and I had to teach. But I had a lesson on Homer Simpson, so I knew everybody was going to be happy doing that. Yeah.
So how, did your comparisons of yourself, your judgment of yourself, get worse or better as you started teaching?
Both.
Did the nagging? Okay, so the nagging got.
I mean, talk about like fraud. You know, what is it? Fraud, feeling of fraud.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm like in front of these people, telling them things. Some of them, the things that I don't actually do on a regular basis. You know, like they're doing more homework than I am, and it definitely feels. I mean, the best I ever feel is when I'm doing the same work that they are. Okay. Like I'm doing the assignments and I'm showing them examples of myself doing it, because that's the most helpful for them too. So yeah. Yeah,
so it got worse, but it also got you kind of moving.
Yeah.
I feel like that happens with me with spiritual stuff too, where like if I tell somebody if someone asks me for advice or guidance or whatever, and I give them that guidance and I'm not following what I said, there's a little nag in the back of my head that goes, you're a hypocrite.
Yeah.
And it makes me kind of move a little more.
Yeah.
It makes me go, okay, fine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
For
I
sure.
think a lot of my life is fine, whatever. Fine, I'll move to New York. Fine, you know. But at the same time, it also is what I want to do. You know, it's weird how I almost need to be pressured into doing what I want.
Yeah, it's weird. Isn't that weird? It's so strange. It's so strange.
Yeah.
So only recently, like maybe a couple of weeks ago, no, I didn't even do this in grad school, but I blocked like 9 hours a week, 9 to 12. There's a flexible 3 hours for art. And it's not like for teaching, not for like lesson plans. It's not for this, that, and it's for me, for my art. And it's like, that feels so good. It feels so good.
What's the type of stuff you're working on? Is it all thesis stuff, or are you working on? I mean, do you feel like now that you've started looking at that piece again, are you like on fire for it, or are you like, you know what, I'm kind of distracted with this other stuff? You want to like spend more time and energy on the other stuff?
I'm really, really I'm pretty on fire for it. Like I'm like dying to do it right now, but I do have like other projects that I work on that I open up and I work on those. Whatever compels me, I guess. But yeah, Fool. It's got my heart. Oh, that's the name of it. Don't tell anybody. I don't have the rights to it yet.
Hush.
So
right. And what's the here? Let's just stop this real quick because it resets at 38 minutes and then start it up again. Here we go. Okay. So. What's the end goal for that piece? That's
so funny. My director at work just asked me that too. And the end goal is it's going to be a feature film. That would be the end goal. And like the steps leading up to that is I have a book already of concept art that I did in school, but I think I saw that. That's probably what it was. Yeah, it was very pretty. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. But I want to send like a more fleshed out version to the author, so that he can give me his blessing and say, yes, I will give you my blessing, go to whatever studio you want, which I would go to Leica because they do stop motion animation, and that's what I visualize this thing as. And stop motion animation, but you do drawings, so I thought stop motion just, was molded stuff. It is. It's so it's puppets basically, and you move them inch by inch and you take pictures. But so what I do is visual development. So I'm just coming up with the style, the way things look, and then it would go down the pipeline and people would get the final character designs and backgrounds, and then they would build it. Okay, so I see. All right, so it's almost like you're storyboarding. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So does it feel strange that this would somehow end goal ideally
even if you had it done exactly the way you envision it in your mind, would it be done all the way again? Like, do you feel like I'm doing all of this and then it's going to be done all the way again, or are they would they ideally use all of your stuff?
I mean, ideally, they would. You know what? I don't know if I have a preference on that, actually. Like, at a certain point, like, I will let go of this thing. Like, I will.
Right.
Because I have to.
Right.
Because I'm not going to make that entire thing by myself.
Right.
And there's a lot of really incredible artists that, I mean, it would be really cool to have them work on this.
Right.
You know.
But you would be, I guess, kind of the impetus and the style. The style would be yours, and the characters and the way they look and the way they do. Yeah. Okay.
And the adaptation. I think that what I'm working hardest on, and I got in trouble for in grad school, was working on the story. Because I'm taking a Shakespearean epic tragedy that was set, you know, in the Middle Ages and putting it in a whole new era, and I'm trying to be historically accurate to a certain degree with like the history of San Francisco, and I'm trying to, you know, mirror these two worlds, which to me is like it's a great art form, and I think I'm kind of clever at what I do. So like the rest of it, like.
So they told you you're not supposed to work on the story itself.
Well, it's not that. It's just they didn't. I had only a certain amount of time before I graduated, and I needed to make a lot of pictures. I needed to make visual art. So they were like, you can't do that.
So the writer itself had no. You're the pretty much, even though you're taking from Lear and from this adaptation, you're creating your whole characters. Like the writer didn't actually put it in the Prohibition era.
No. Yeah,
okay.
his is set. His is King Lear straight up, but the fool is the hero. So he came up with that twist.
Okay.
And he made it all kind of raunchy and bonkers.
Like 10 Things I Hate About You is actually technically the Taming of the Shrew.
Okay.
Did you know
that's true? I didn't know that.
I haven't seen 10 Things I Hate About You, but that's what I've been told.
Yeah.
But okay, so yeah, that makes sense. So the adaptation, and then you're adapting the adaptation in its own whole.
It's triple
new thing.
Distilled. That's
all right, very interesting. So you have this idea in your head, and you wouldn't actually mind if someone else did all of the took the whole animation and took pieces of your design. You wouldn't really care. That's interesting.
No, because I actually ultimately, and when I had my final review at school, they said that I would be a really good producer or director, and I was very insulted. I was like, "Does that mean my art sucks? Like, how dare you?"
I think most of us don't even know what the fuck a producer does.
Yeah.
So what
well,
is
to me, I thought a producer was somebody that just came up with the money.
Right.
But and I'm not going to even get the definition right, but the way they laid it out for me, I was like, oh, that makes sense, because I know every single department. I can do all of these things, but I don't necessarily want to be the one that's animating the toe of Shrek or whatever, you know. I like the big picture. And I'm good with people, and I speak the visual language, cinematic language, like all of that.
As an example, he's a piece of shit, but Harvey Weinstein and the Weinstein people, it's not just a money thing. It's like, you even if as an example, Beyonce, I'm using a million different examples, but even Beyonce, she's not really a songwriter, but she gets the best beat producer and the best lyrics and the best this and that, and has a team, and that's kind of what a producer does as well. Like, I'm gonna get Quentin Tarantino, and I'm gonna get this editor and this, and put it all together, because big picture, again, horrible person, but the Weinstein brothers have you can kind of tell when it's their movie. You know what I mean? You can kind of tell, even though Quentin has a very different style than some of the other, directors they would use, there's a very definite feeling. There's okay. Yeah. So have you produced other things when you were in school, or when you since?
No.
Okay.
Not really.
Okay. But you feel like it's a natural kind of role for you?
Yes.
Okay. What do you feel you like about it? Is it just big picture stuff, or you just feel like, do you appreciate the the gifts of other people, and
Yes.
like you're like one of those people.
Yes.
That's good.
Yeah.
I think I'm too selfish for that.
It's exhausting trying to be the best at everything. Like it is. It's really, really
Yes, it is.
exhausting. I try, but like sometimes I'm just like, word, you're good.
Do it, yeah. And that's good, and that's I mean, you know, there are some people, as an example, who have a very specific gift to, I want to get this person and this person together and sync them up. Oh, you know who you should meet? You should meet this person and sync them up. And then they flutter around to another part of the party. Like they're like the linker-uppers.
Fiddler
you know
on
what
the
I mean?
Roof. I'm going to see that play actually in a couple of weeks. But
That's another musical.
yeah?
They gave each other a pledge.
What's the Yetzel? Who's the person that like the matchmaker? What's her name?
Yenta?
Yentl?
Yenta?
Yeah, something like that.
Something
The
Yiddish.
Yenta of
Yeah.
production.
You grew up in Los Angeles. You should know
I
much
know,
more Jewish
I
words than I do. Yeah, no, there's yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's good. Do you when you got distracted from art, were you sober already, or were you okay?
Yeah.
So
I got sober when I was in grad school.
when you were in
which
grad
is
school.
very hard to do.
I bet.
Yes.
I bet it's even harder to be drinking and using when you were in grad school. That's probably worse than. No. Hey, correct me. How was it? If you're open to talk about it.
Yeah, it wasn't great. What was interesting about the way I got sober is like I didn't get sober at the height of my drinking.
Okay.
So that was LA where I did the worst of it. So it was just like I wasn't drinking, but I was miserable. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, it wasn't awesome.
I see what you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And I was doing my master's originally on liquor. That was my
nice.
yes.
How does one do a master's on liquor? What was your goal going to be?
So I don't know. This is one I don't know. People have told me not to talk about it because
Okay, we can
Well,
cut it out.
I'll give you like a. Let's see if I can give you like a
Very vague.
very vague.
Okay.
But it was.
Were you going to build a shrine? Maybe is that what it is? Is that gonna be?
No. So there's a reason. There's a reason that I picked Fool to do. And the reason I said it is because it was a dark comedy.
Right.
And the reason I set it into the era of the Prohibition was that was an era that I was using for the play I was writing.
Okay.
And so
you were originally writing a play for.
yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes
But I
sense.
didn't know what my relationship with booze was.
Okay.
So I didn't know how I felt about it. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to put that down. I'm going to study from a master, and then we'll go from there.
Quick question: when as far as San Francisco goes, were you already pulled to San Francisco, or was your research into San Francisco part of what pulled you up here?
Oh yeah, no. I when I was a kid, I came up here when I was like 10, and I remember thinking I'm going to live there someday.
Yeah.
Yeah. And no, I had no idea, but I was pulled.
Was it Pier 39? Pier 39 has something weird to it. Have
Maybe
you
the
ever
sea
been?
lions or something.
It's so dumb. And no. Ever since I became a local, I haven't been back really. But like, when you're a kid, we were living in the South Bay, and you go up to like Pier 39. It's like Disneyland, but near the water.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Disneyland on water. But you go back as an adult, it's just like overpriced trinkets and sweatshirts that say "I Heart San Francisco"
Right.
that cost 5 cents to make, and they're $25.
Yep.
It's
Genius. They're
it's
genius.
a weird. There's like 17-year-olds who work there for 6 months and then get fired for being late. And then they have a whole new host of. It's a weird spot. Yeah. Anyway, so when you were researching this, you got deep into the research for it, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. And have you read that book, not The Witching Hour? What's that San Francisco history book that everybody's been reading recently? Season of the Witch.
No.
You never read Season of the Witch?
No.
People talk about it a lot. Did you ever listen to my old podcast that I was on? There's a guy named S.K. Morton. Okay. He's a historian, very, very, very funny, and great dude. And I was he's also has a great walking tour. I might cut that out and we'll see.
Wait, is this a podcast that you're talking about?
Podcast.
The Season of the Witch?
No.
Or that's a book?
It's a book.
Because there's somebody who did recommend something to me about a witch, but there was no book. Yeah. No, there was something like that, but I don't know.
Someone recommended to me something about a witch.
Okay, now I'm going to look.
This is the
Keep
worst.
talking.
We have some sort of a pall of forgetfulness on this one. But there's and he talked about the Season of the Witch as well. But I'm interested to know like what pulled you to that era, like the Prohibition era.
I've already come by like 3 different witch books, but I don't know what it was. Okay, I give up.
Okay.
What pulled me to Prohibition?
Yeah. Or to that, is it just a romantic style? Like it's a
No. It was like I.
Do you watch Peaky Blinders and things like that?
I did watch it. I gave up on it. No, I was writing a screenplay that took place in the Prohibition.
Okay, so who gave you that role though?
Oh, what do you mean?
Well, like so you were writing about it, but how did that start?
That was like in like my undergrad. I just thought I came up with this idea that.
You just came up with the idea, and then you started researching, and you're like, "Oh, this is kind of cool."
I mean, one of the loves of my life was booze, so I was like, "I'm gonna write a story about the love of my life."
Right.
Yeah, and so I started doing that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Plus, I got to do a lot of field research.
Of course.
It was great. I was a genius. I would go to the bar and I would draw everything in the bar.
Drawing by
yourself. Sample all the liquors.
At a bar.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, it was good stuff.
That's pathetic. It's
so
awesome.
I'm weaving some of that work
into what you're currently doing.
Yes.
Okay. In what ways?
You'll see when the movie comes out.
Okay. All right. So in between that, what are you normally pulled to these days? Like when you're like, okay, I'm done with this for now. I'm not going to put it down for years like I did, but I really want to work on a story about a butterfly, or I really want to just sketch for a half hour. Like, is it all 9 hours devoted to Fool, or is it okay?
No, some of it is just straight up practice, like trying to develop my abilities, like figure drawing and learning about digital painting. Right now I'm learning how to draw on a tablet, which is a learning curve, so stuff like that. I have a project that I'm working on called Bleats Coffee, and it's about a sheepdog that herds his sheep by making coffee.
Okay.
And so that's in development, and I have I'm working on a maquette of it right now. Maquette's like
What's a maquette?
It's like a sculpture of the characters.
Okay.
So that's.
But with that sculpture, so is that story as an example? Is the goal eventually it's going to be a bunch of sculptures, like a bunch of molds, or is it?
No, well,
because I feel like that's one of those things that, like, for me, maybe it's my just big belt of laziness around me, but like I don't want to create something and then create it again. Like it's interesting, you don't
want to.
I don't want to. You know
me
what I mean? Or like, but like there are things that you have to do as an artist that serve the ultimate goal, but they don't serve the product itself.
Right.
You know what I mean? There's, like, as an example, a figure drawing over and over and over and over and over and over.
Right.
Drawing a circle 1,000,000 times until it looks like a ball. You know what I mean? Like, and that hard work, I work really hard, but I almost have a hard time. I almost have a harder time working on stuff I actually want to work on than I do. Like, I want to, I want to be a musician, but practicing music. Why is that such a difficult thing for me? I guess, like, I work really hard to stay up late and drive long distances and, pursue relationships that I don't want. You know what I mean? Like, I can obsess and smack my head against the wall like nobody's business. It's tremendous. But at the same time, the stuff that I want to do, it almost is harder for me.
Oh, yeah.
Why do you think that is for you?
Because we don't want to fuck it up.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I don't want to fuck it up, but I also think it's like I almost want to. I've talked about this in a bunch on the. Did you ever watch comedians in cars getting coffee?
I've seen it.
It's not
a lot.
I love the show.
My husband gets me like he's a would-be stand-up comedian.
Yeah. So. Well, when he wants to. There's an episode Alec Baldwin did with him, and in it he talks about the famous committee. he thought when he was young there would be or he puts it a different way, but the famous committee. Hello, Mr. Baldwin. I'm Jack. I'm from the famous committee, and we've heard that you're very talented, but you don't have any conduit or any way to get your talent into the public eye, and we're here to make you famous. You know what I mean? Like, rather than
that sounds great,
right? Rather than what it actually is, which is just tireless, constant. And not just working on the craft, but also being good at promoting and performing and just doing that over and over and over. Because there are some people who are amazing at promoting and they're dog shit, and then there are some people who are great at writing but don't wanna leave their garage, subconsciously or consciously because they're too cool or because they're too afraid. So it's like that bridge of it really. I think the people who really. You ever seen The Defiant Ones on HBO? It's a story of Jimmy.
You're going to give me this, right? I got
yes,
a whole list of books and movies to watch and podcasts.
Sweeney Todd. But Jimmy Iovine and Dr. Dre, and it's a documentary about their stories and whatever. And watching them or watching my friend Jefferson Berge, who's a musician in the East Bay, or watching my friend Animal from Southern California, being around people who are like, oh, fuck, I should be doing that.
Yeah.
It makes me go like, I got to pick up my guitar. I got to write something now, yesterday now. Because I think the people who make it are people who work really fucking hard. Yep. And I didn't know that. I thought I could just take my raw talent that I was blessed with from God and just go, here, everybody, you should be knocking on my fucking door. Right. You know what I mean? And that is not the case. That is not the case, it turns out.
There's an artist that I watch. I'm forgetting his name because that's the theme, but he does a really great YouTube video about talent and how talent is, I think he calls it a backwards parasite or something.
Backwards parasite.
It's something a flipped, inverted parasite. Oh. So basically, you get these kids who are innately talented at something.
Right.
They didn't ever have to work for it. They just were given that. Right. And then you have the kids that can't do it but want to. Right. So they work to be able to do it. Those kids can continue because they know how to work hard. But the kids that are talented, all of a sudden people are surpassing them and they're like, wait a second. Give me more talent, and it doesn't work that way.
And then sometimes I guess those guys just give up.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people like I'm sure even in your experience with doing art, maybe you felt like you were doing that when you gave it up for a long time. But like there are a lot of people who I did open mics with and did shows with and did songs with and did, whatever, who I look back and they're just doing they're not even trying anymore. Like they either got distracted with other life stuff or maybe gave up intentionally or subconsciously or something. But there are a lot of people who I just don't see anymore. Like they're not even, you know what I mean? And then there are people who are still out here, trying. And I guess, whether we make it or don't make it, there's something respectable about that.
And what is making it?
Yeah. But that's the thing is that
like you're working on an album, you have a podcast, like that's making it. People are listening to you.
But I'm
is anybody
also
listening to this?
Yeah, but I'm also broke. I've been broke for 32 fucking years.
So making it means making money.
So making it, I think, part of it is to be financially comfortable, stable on music and on podcast and comedy or whatever. I guess that's part of it for me. Also, in my head, ideally, I want to run the fucking world. Like I want to be. But
I want to run the world. So
yeah, you can. But you do the art stuff. I'll do the music stuff, the comedy stuff, and everything else. But I actually want to act too. I've done acting. Did you know that? I was in 12th Night as Fabian, a very small character. But I also in Children of Eden in high school, which is a musical. I played God.
You got a good voice for God.
I was typecast. But there's ideally that's my goal is to be like fucking goddamn ridiculously big. But also part of the reason is not just for the ego, but also because I want to have the autonomy to just text Bjork like, hey, you want to do something? You want to make an album like this year? Sure, let's do it. You know what I mean? Or like, I want to have my pick of the best drummers and the best bassists, and I just want to sit in the studio and just like, I have a thought and it comes out. rather than I have a thought, I put it in my phone and under notes or I record a little voice recording of it, and then nothing fucking happens, partially because of me or partially because I don't have the tools with which to make it. You know what I mean? I want to be able to do whatever I want to do and have that. So it's not just an ego thing. It also is like I really want to like have freedom and autonomy and not have to worry about money anymore. That would be nice. You know, now obviously we all want that. Nobody wants to worry about money. Everyone wants autonomy and freedom, but that's my goal. You know what I mean? What is making it to you?
I don't know.
Okay. What has it meant before?
I mean, I wanted to be an actress when I was 10. I think I wrote a paper on Marilyn Monroe. So then it was making it. I wanted to be a horse jockey, and I wanted to win the Kentucky Derby. That would be making it. I've had a lot of like those kinds of things where like there was like this specific end goal. Like I mean, I don't know. But yeah, because I have all these interests too. So making it in what? Like I like to sing. Like I could see me and my husband and his family like being in a band. Like we have good chemistry together. I could see us traveling, doing all that. But in terms of art, making a movie. It's always been making a movie.
It's been making that specific one.
Nope,
at
just
least
a movie.
Just a movie. Okay.
I just want to make a movie.
For how long? It's been like 10, 15 years or something like that, right?
Probably, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now
I want to write a book too.
Oh, of course. Now, are you at the point currently, and maybe this will change, later on, but are you at the point currently where you don't feel as frustrated about your definitions of making it and where you feel like you're at?
Yes.
Okay. Because you just feel like you have all this other life stuff going on, and you have your train, and the train is rolling along, and you're doing what you want to do, and you're making it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And I have a lot of hope. Like I do. I have a lot of hope. And kind of have some faith
about the art or about just
about
everything?
that it's all leading somewhere, like
and all aspects of life feed that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I was talking with my mentor one time. He's not my mentor anymore, but I was talking with this artist and he was talking about hunting, and he was talking about killing his first elk, and how that was like a transformative experience, and a positive experience. And I was like, so did that affect your art in any way? He's like, everything affects my art. And I was like, yeah, that kind of feels about right. You know what I mean? So like when I've got hope in the rest of my life, when I've got things, when I'm, everything affects what I'm making. You know what I mean? So I guess that is a smart way to look at it. That is a healthy way to look at it. Do you have a timeline to this stuff? A goal, but not like a hard, strict, I better get it done by blah, blah, blah.
So I have Shakespeare's birthday and the day he died is April 23rd. So
are we sure about that?
No. No. And then tomorrow is April Fool's Day. Oh, right. So both of those things fall in April. So I have a deadline of getting all of my work together to send to the author by either April Fool's Day or Shakespeare's birthday.
Does he already know about it?
No.
Okay.
No, he doesn't know. And then after that, I don't know. My director he's got a writing partner. He writes screenplays and stuff like that. And his writing partner is in Hollywood, and he's going to have him look and see if Fool has been optioned to make into a movie, because a lot of his books have been already. So it would be a process of like, I don't know. I don't even know what would happen. Like we would have to like buy the option back or have that studio make it. I have no idea. So I've got research to do on that end too.
Are there times, and this is a very LA question, are there times where projects get optioned for a movie and then nothing happens?
Yeah, my director, they bought his screenplay and it's just on a shelf.
Right.
Yeah.
It's almost like a Chinese company buying. I guess a Chinese company bought JimNorton.com,
Okay.
the comedian, and he was like, "You're not even going to use it. Like,
That's
why
so
are you just want to
weird.
have it so that I can buy it from you?" You know. What I
Oh
mean?
man. Yeah.
So I guess there's things that were like, companies or people want to have their stuff, and then when people are interested, that's got to be frustrating from the writer's standpoint of like, hey, like I want people to be able to do this. Yeah, it's interesting. So your goal, you have that, and this writer, I'm sure. So you wouldn't be coming out of complete left field. Like he's got people sending him things when it comes to other projects.
I'm sure. He actually in his books he like lists his email address, and he's very much like contact me kind of person. And it was really frustrating. I was gonna go. I think I had my book, and he did a book signing, but my friend and I were going, and we got the date wrong. So we showed up, and it had been the day before. So, but I think that was fine because it wasn't ready to show him yet. So,
there you go.
Yeah.
Right. And plus, there's that thing too. You ever been to? I'm sure you've been to like comedy shows or whatever, and like you know everybody's lining up to like meet them, and you don't want to be the guy to be like, no. But I also want to be that person. I also want to. When I was with Colin Quinn was in town last year, and me and a friend went to go see him, and afterwards we did do like the meet and greet, but I wanted to stay all the way until everyone left. There were a bunch of people waiting after the show to meet him, and then they kind of started walking away because he wasn't out yet, and I'm like, fine, get the fuck out of here. You know what I mean? It was me, my friend, and one drunk guy, and like the drunk guy was like, hey man, got to him first, and you're the best, and blah blah, just like kind of crazy and high and whatever. And Colin's like, yeah, it was nice. But then when me and my friend, we also had an in because of some spiritual things that we also know about Colin Quinn. And so we I kind of used that to like ingratiate ourselves a little bit. But it also was like cool to just hang out with him. It was just like we talked for maybe 7 minutes, took pictures, bullshitted. And there was no one else. So it was just like we got to kind of take up his time, and he very graciously gave it to us before he, got on his way. You want to wrap up in a little bit?
Sure, yeah. I got a text from... I'm on like a text thread, so of like 8 people, so I keep getting dinged.
This is a grateful woman sending gratitude lists.
No. We do that through email.
It's even worse. Yeah, it's I guess I wouldn't really rather be doing anything else. That was something that Seinfeld was talking about in Comedian, this movie. It's on Netflix. Feel free. I plug a lot of shit on here, you ungrateful bastards. Patreon.com/Conservatish. Give me your money. But Jerry was talking about in Comedian. He was like, there was a comedian who was complaining about like, I'm 29. I want to make it. Like my life is blah 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 blah. It's I gotta get it done. He's like, do you need anywhere to be? Do you have somewhere to be?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, is there anything else you'd rather be doing? It's like, well, I guess not. You know what I mean? All right, fine. Like, whether I'm making it or not, I still would make a fucking podcast because I like doing this shit.
Yeah.
If I'd still be playing music because I like doing that. Still be writing anyway. So I might as well keep trying. I might as well keep putting the time in and putting the failure in and putting the success in and keep doing it.
And you have been. I mean, you hustle.
I try.
You do.
But it also is hustling smart, you know what I mean? Which is part of the idea of moving to New York. Because it's like, okay, I can hustle here, but there's only a certain level that I can make here, and I'm not even there. So I could spend more time here. I could keep doing what I'm doing, but it just kind of feels like, not even like I'm a big fish in a small pond, but just that I'm a small fish in a small pond.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it feels
might as
like
well be a small fish in a big pond.
Might as well. You know what I mean? Might as well be a medium fish in a big pond, or like in an impossible pond. I'd rather kind of be in the impossible pond because it's an album title, Impossible Pond. But like I'd rather be in the impossible pond because I feel like that way I'd at least be around other people who make me inspired and sharpen me. Mm-hmm. I'd rather be around comedians who make fun of me so I can make fun of them so we can all kind of sharpen each other so I know what to do when someone heckles. Right. You know what I mean? Like I'm not caught off guard. I want to know what to do I want to be around other musicians who are like, oh no. See, if a manager comes and says that, don't listen to them. Or, if an agent tries to get you to, don't do that.
Right.
I want to be around those people who I can learn from and get sharpened by. And and at least be playing the game. You know what I mean? It's the real game, but I kind of would rather be, eating the shit sandwich that's in there rather than the shit sandwich here. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Yeah. Are you excited about your stuff?
Yeah.
Cool. Well, we're excited for you.
Thank you.
Everyone's very excited about Fool.
Thank you.
And hopefully, you're okay with sharing the name of it. Okay.
Don't sue me, Chris. Don't sue me.
If you got sued from this, that would make me feel, no offense, but it would make me feel very good because that means my reach is so I have such a fan base. Anyway,
no publicity is bad publicity. So if I get sued, I'm on the map. Maybe this
there
guy
you go.
sued me.
Ooh, she's been sued by what's his face. Very nice. That's a very LA thing too. Okay, well we'll wrap up. Is there anything you want to plug? Do you want people to? Is your art available anywhere? Do you want people to see it? What do you feel?
No.
Okay. Screw you. Wait until something else comes out, and then we'll share it here.
You can go to juliespeyer.com.
Oh. Fine.
Yeah.
You said it already. So
I said it already.
If you change your mind, we can. But
whatever.
That. People want to see your art.
You can see it.
Yeah. And you can find me on Instagram at Peter_Feliciano. You can support this podcast and my musical stuff at patreon.com/Conservatish. And you can also find me every Friday in April at A Grape in the Fog in Pacifica. So all you Pacifica people, come bother me. 6:30 to 9:30 every Friday night in April. And I'll also be playing at Amelie Wine Bar in San Francisco on Polk Sunday, the 14th of April. And if you want to book me for your event, let you know in advance. I'm very expensive. But you can email me at conservatishpodcast@gmail.com. Thank you very much, Julie, for coming on.
Thank you.
And you all have a lovely day.
Bye.